I'm your host, Anna Aguilar, and I am here with Anthony Zaldana and Chris Beltran. How you doing, guys?
What's going on?
All right, did you guys have a good weekend?
I sure did.
I had an early Thanksgiving dinner yesterday with my family, so I'm done with Thanksgiving for this year for sure.
And I had an amateur boxing show. One of my fighters, shout out to Diego Dominguez, he got the W over there at the South Almani Boxing Club show.
Oh, your mic wasn't on. I won't repeat all that.
Oh, we gotta do it all over again. Well, big shout out to Diego Dominguez. He fought yesterday. He's one of my fighters. He's an amateur. He has 18 amateur fights. Mm-hmm. So big shout out to him. We got the W yesterday over at the South Almani Boxing Show.
Nice, congratulations.
Yeah, he got a big turkey.
Nice. How about you, Anthony?
It was a good weekend. Was at the Thompson's show Friday night.
Nice.
It went really well. We had a lot of boxing this weekend that we need to get into.
Yeah, there was a lot of boxing this weekend, and we had PBC on Bounce last night, PBC on I think FS1 Friday. Right. Golden Boy fights, yeah. And
Carl Frampton fight.
Carl Frampton. You had Kenny Enriquez fighting last night, so there was quite a bit of boxing going on. But we also had some tragedy hit the world of boxing over this past week.
Yes.
And so let's talk about that. Go ahead, Anna. I'll let you.
Well, before we go through all of that stuff, before we go through all of our topics for today, we'll talk about Rafael Garcia. I think it was on
Tuesday, I believe.
Tuesday.
Monday or Tuesday.
And he passed away. He was 88 years old. If he is best known for the cutman of Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather Jr., and the hat with all those pins.
Right.
Yeah, he was a very good guy, a godfather to Jesse Vargas as well, and loved by all the boxing community. So it was a big.
And will be missed.
Will definitely be missed. Definitely a legendary for sure.
You know, it's really sad about Rafael Garcia. Earlier this year, he was attacked by a swarm of Africanized bees, and he was stung over 100 times. He was hospitalized then. He suffered a heart attack, and then 2 weeks before his death, he was diagnosed with leukemia. So he was really on a downward spiral. It's really tough for Jesse right now. You know, it's tough for the whole boxing community because Rafael was a very liked man. He was loved. Well loved. Everybody in the boxing community. And besides working with Floyd Mayweather, Rafael also worked with Roberto Duran, Alexis Arguello, and Wilfredo Gomez, just to name a few. So, you know, it's
a few legends as well as him being a legend himself.
Yeah, so it's very sad that that Rafael's passed away. We also lost Dr. Ferdy Pacheco. Dr. Ferdy Pacheco was the ringside physician for Muhammad Ali. He was also a television commentator on Showtime, NBC, and Univision. He's won multiple Emmy Awards for his commentary of boxing. He left Muhammad Ali in '77. He was Ali's personal doctor and had advised Ali not to fight after he had fought Foreman, and he went on to fight 4 more times after Pacheco left him, and he lost 3 of those 4, and we all know what happened to Ali after that. You know, right. It was a downward spiral for him as well with the
Parkinson's.
Exactly.
So I hope that everyone can take a moment and say a little prayer for their families, of course. Going on for our guest today, we have Kalisha West, who's in the studio right now with us. So we'll have her at the next half hour. And Maricela Cornejo, she just fought on Thursday night, and she took another win. So congratulations to Maricela. She'll be calling us in a few as well. Let's go into our fights, actually. Let's start those out.
Okay, so we'll start off with Friday night at the Doubletree Hotel. Thompson Boxing Promotions is a great promotion company. They've been around for about 20 years out here in the Inland Empire. They have fights at the Doubletree in Ontario as well as in Corona. And to kick things off that night, we had a kid out of Santa Monica by the name of Ruben Torres. He's 2-0, and he went in against a guy named Alejandro Zepeda in a 4-round bout, and Torres just completely took this guy apart, took Zepeda apart. He knocked him out in the first round, hit him with about 10 or 15 unanswered punches, forcing the referee to come in and stop the fight. He's the real deal, Ruben Torres. He's training out of Legends Boxing Gym.
With Danny Zamora.
Yeah, with Danny Zamora. Yeah, and Zamora's got a good squad. You know, he has Peter Petrov as part of his stable, Michael Dutch over, Ruben Villa, a lot of good amateurs that are training right now Danny Zamora there. Also on the card, you had a kid out of Indio, California by the name of Manuel Mendez. Now, Mendez was coming off a big knockout loss, and he was going up against Abraham Cordero out of Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. And in Cordero's last fight, he was knocked out by Mike Reed. So, I mean, he's been in there with some good opponents, and him and Mendez went the distance. Cordero was a southpaw, and he continued to smother Mendez throughout the fight. Mendez never really got comfortable. He couldn't get to the outside. Cordero was cutting off the ring, and it went to a decision. It was a hard fight to score. It was an ugly fight, but it went to a decision, and they gave the decision to Cordero. Both fighters left the ring, and about 10 minutes later, they retallied the cards and called the fight a split draw.
Wow.
So that was something very interesting there. You know, I've never seen that. You know, I've seen them retally scorecards, but not 10 minutes after the fight.
That's so funny. You never get surprised on what happens in any amateur shows, pro
Nothing surprises
shows.
me
Yeah.
anymore.
10 minutes is crazy.
The DoubleTree for Thompson Boxing, they always have some good shows.
Yeah.
And if you guys are over there, make sure you see Anthony. He's always there,
Yeah,
covering for Supreme Boxing.
I really like the Thompson. You get a bang for your buck. Really, I mean,
Definitely.
it's a good family show. You go in there, I mean, you get good entertainment as far as the boxing is. And in the main event, you had the new WBO NABO welterweight champion Giovanni Santillan out of San Diego, who was taking on this guy named Dazi Kama
From Ghana, correct?
Ghana. Yeah, it was his first time fighting in the United States, and there wasn't really much known about this fighter. So with that being said, you don't know if you're going to get a very good fighter coming out of Ghana, somebody like an Ike Cortez or Nazuma Nelson.
Because Ghana they always bring good fighters out,
They
and
do.
then you look at his record, probably from there, but 13, 2, and with 12 knockouts. So he's lost twice, and he has 12 knockouts. So it makes you look like, or you perceive him as a puncher.
Yeah, on paper he was a banger. Like you said, 13 wins with 12 knockouts. So I wasn't really, I didn't know what to expect. But Santillan went in there and he took care of business. He controlled the bout from the opening bout. He landed precise combinations in the early rounds. He stuck his jab. And then in the fourth round, he hurt him with several shots.
Right.
My wife was shooting ringside in one of the corners, in the opposite corner. And Camille walked over to the corner and asked, why did they move my corner? So when they went back, the referee, Raul Caiz Jr., went over to the ringside physician to have him come in and check on Kamea, and they called the fight after the fourth round. Yeah, his eyes were gone.
Right.
He wasn't in the fight. He didn't know where he was. And you know what? That was like they say, you live to fight another day. And in boxing, that's how it is. You don't want to see anybody hurt. We've seen what has happened with fighters like Daniel Franco.
You're right. Twitch took some punishment by Chris Martin,
Yeah.
and then fought again in Mexico. Then fought again, and then ended up having brain surgery. So yeah, you gotta be real careful.
You never want to see a fighter hurt in the ring, and it was for the best that the ringside physician called
Right.
it off. I know his camp and his team was very upset about the fight being called off, but you got to look at the health and safety of the fitter.
You gotta lean towards safety all the time. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. As the coaches and as the physicians and everybody involved in governing the fights.
Exactly. And then,
And while sorry, go ahead.
yeah, moving on, we had some good fights in England, and actually they were in Belfast, not in England. They were in
Right.
Belfast. They were headlined by Carl Frampton taking on Horacio Garcia. But on that card, you had the WBO World Bantamweight Champion Zolani Lasborn Tete, and this guy he's a very slick fighter. He puts together big combinations. Well, what he did is he went in there and
We didn't even get to see any of that.
No, we didn't get to see his talent because he went in there and he knocked this guy out in 8 seconds with one punch. I mean, it was the fastest knockout in World Championship history. In any fight, 8 seconds. Guy went in, threw one punch, knocked him out.
He's in the record books.
After the fight, his opponent.
Easy money.
Yeah, after his fight, his opponent, they had to give him oxygen because he actually
Wow.
stopped breathing. So they were giving him oxygen,
Wow.
to wake him up. And he's a tough fighter. His last fight, he fought Arthur Villanueva from the Philippines, who recently lost by TKO in Tijuana to Luis Neri. So that they can bang. Hopefully, we'll see him in the United States soon.
I'd love to see that guy in the United States.
He is the
US.
WBO World Bantamweight Champion. So, you know, maybe we'll be able to see him.
That was a vicious right hook he threw.
Yeah.
Vicious.
And in the main event, you had the contender, the featherweight contender called Frampton.
Former champion.
The former champion. You know, he had 2 good bouts with Leo Santa Cruz. They were in front of 10,000 people there at the SAC Arena in Belfast. And he was in a tough fight from the get-go. He controlled much of the early rounds, but then in the 7th, Horacio Garcia caught him with a right hook. He actually was slipping, and Horacio caught the hook when he was on his way down from the slip. It was called a knockdown.
Right.
And then after the 7th round, he continued to hold. He held in the 8th, he held in the 9th, and the 10th round he was making it an ugly fight, and Garcia really couldn't free himself from all that holding. Garcia trapped him on the ropes again in the 9th and tried to push forward, but because it was a non-title fight, it was only 10 rounds.
Right.
I think if it would have went 12, Horacio Garcia might have pulled it off. But then again, he's fighting across the pond, so what happens is they go to the scorecards, and Frampton just demolishes him on the scorecards, 98-93, 97-93, 96-93. Even being knocked down, they still have the scores that wide over there in England.
And you would think, I mean, it'd be closer. I mean, come on, I mean, it was a tough fight. Anybody that was there watching it knew it was a tough fight. Yeah, Frampton, to me, edged out the fight, but like you said, if it would have been 10, if it would have went 12, then we would be talking, we'd have a whole different narrative.
Exactly. So it's gonna be interesting to see where Frampton goes from here, because the springtime pretty much has Abner Mars locked up with Leo Santa Cruz. The other 2 top fighters in England, Josh Warrington and Lee Salving, also got fights locked up for the spring. So we'll see where
Frampton fits
where
in.
Frampton goes from here. Yeah.
And then while you were over there at Thompson, I was watching the PBC fights on Friday night, and Anthony Durrell versus Dennis Douglas was the main event for that card. So Ryan Cowboy Carl, he won a unanimous decision against Kareem Martin that night. So that was a scheduled 8-rounder, and congratulations to him. And Jamonte Clark versus Dominique Dalton, that was the co-main event, and Jamonte Clark took the win on that one. But for the main event, Anthony Durrell and Dennis Douglas, that one was a little, you know, I feel that it was somewhat of aggression, because I know that there was some mad talking between both of them.
Talking.
And yeah, and at the end of the first round, Durrell actually got Douglas with a right hand upstairs, and then he stunned Douglas. But am I saying his name?
Douglas, yeah.
Yeah, Douglas. He stunned him at the end, and then the bout, you know, ended.
Right.
And then, of course,
The only
there was,
impressive thing
those-
about Douglas was his nickname. Mama
You know, I really like that his mom trained him, though. She-
Right.
Give it up for that. Woman in boxing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he got cut on, what was it?
right underneath the eye, on the top of his eye, right underneath. He had got cut, and it was going in his eye. Anthony Durrell.
Yeah, it was in the 6th round,
In
right?
the 6th round.
He kept blinking, so the doctor went ahead and they took it to the scorecard.
Yeah, they stopped it and went
Yeah.
to the scorecards.
And then he took a win on that one. But on last night with PBC, I felt it was Julian Williams versus Ishe Smith, and I honestly felt that Julian could have done a little bit more with Ishe,
Right.
because you know, it's just he made it a little bit more tough on him. But I felt like if he would have let go a little bit more, he might have just probably stopped him a little, because he kind of.
He had him hurt a few times.
Yeah.
The problem is Ishe kept throwing punches, and Ishe was using his punches as defense. He threw a lot of combinations.
Yeah, but J-Rock was also blocking those.
Right. No, I'm just saying that's why he wasn't able to get off and get more punches in, where he could probably have hurt him or stopped him. It was Ishe's more of his persistence and combination punching that kind of, I think, thwarted a little bit of what Julian Williams was doing.
And there was a lot of cuts on that
Right.
that fight as well, and Ishe was the one that was suffering them all because of the accidental headbutts. But J-Rock ended up winning that fight unanimously. It was 98, 91, I think 98, 92, and 97, 93. So it was a bit of a close fight, but like I said, I felt
It was
like
a sloppy
J-Rock could
fight.
have did a little bit more. Exactly, yeah.
I would say the same thing about Anthony Durrell's fight. It was kind of sloppy. Anthony has a lot of boxing skill, but he's overthrowing punches. He looked like he wanted he was looking for one punch instead of trying to box and.
Exactly. He should have did a little bit more combinations.
Right.
For sure.
Use his jab a little bit more.
Oh yeah, Juan West just walked into the house.
Juan West in the
Hello.
building. How you doing?
But I feel like the only thing that was probably really worthwhile in that Darrell fight was when Douglas' mom was kind of getting called out by the crowd, and she was, you know, trying to avoid that, and then Darrell brought her up to the ring, and then, you know, embraced her, yeah, and then, you know, kind of squashed between whatever happened with Darrell and Douglas, for sure.
Yeah, they ended up giving each other hugs at the end of the fight, which is, to me, customary. Should be done. You know, people gotta have sportsmanship in boxing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
It's not a street fight.
That was great. You know, you wanna you know, build up the fight with some trash talk. Fine, that's okay. But at the end of the day, when you guys embrace, that's what makes it more respectful, for sure.
You know, Thursday night we had fights as well. We had the Golden Boy card, and it was the first time that Golden Boy had linked up with Cancun Boxing. They initiated their new partnership, and in the main event you had Jose Martinez. He's an undefeated super flyweight fighter, 20-0 with 13 knockouts, taking on Jesus Martinez. On that card, you also had Alexis Rocha, Virgil Ortiz, and Marty Cornejo fighting. A little bit about Ortiz. We'll go into Virgil Ortiz. He's a fighter out of Texas who's 8-0 with 8 KOs, and he opened it up, and he got a first-round knockout against Evandro Calavero from Brazil, and they actually went to a replay. And they looked at the replay because Calavero was hit in the back of the head, and they were going to call it a draw, a technical draw, because he couldn't continue after getting hit in the back of the head. They went to replay. They showed that it wasn't a hit in the back of the head, and they ended up giving Virgil Ortiz the TKO. So I think that the WBC being there and having their commission there is they're really moving forward with looking at this instant replay, and I think that's something that fight fans and media is going to be looking forward to in 2018 is the use of replay in boxing.
I think it's great for boxing.
Yeah. It should actually come into play for sure.
Also on that card, you had Alexis Rocha, who's 10-0 with 7 KOs. He fights out of Santa Ana, and Alexis Rocha is the younger brother of bantamweight contender Ronnie Rios. He went in against a kid from Colombia named Pascual Salgado. It was a scheduled 8-round welterweight fight. You know, he did what he had to do. He landed shots early and often. Salgado went to his knees, and it was an early stoppage.
Yeah, left hook to the liver took him down.
Yeah, I think it was at the minute 46 mark of the first round that Rocha got the KO. And Rocha is another impressive young fighter out of the Golden Boy stable.
Right, I seen him at TKO Boxing, sparring, and he's a talent, another talent.
Definitely, I've seen him at the Belasco Theater before. He's good. I like him a lot.
Yeah, it's a funny story about Alexis is I think at 13 years old he was like 180 or 190 pounds, and he was just this little chunky kid, and he started training with Ronnie, and within a year he had lost like 60 or 70 pounds and decided he wanted to start boxing. So now he's at about 147, and he's a threat because he's a big welterweight.
Right.
You know, I don't know if you guys have seen him.
I've seen him, yeah.
He
doesn't look like a welterweight.
He's a strong guy, and you know, with that stable that Golden Boy has, with all these prospects they have coming up, and including their new contract, which is going to run about 32 events on ESPN, a lot of these prospects are going to get TV time.
Oh yeah, they're going to get a chance.
And they're going to become household names.
To shine.
Yeah. In the main event, you had, like I said, you had Jose Martinez taking on Jesus Martinez. That was a good fight. It went back and forth, but you know, Jose Martinez caught his opponent with a left hook to the liver, dropped him, hurt his opponent, and as fighters know and as people know that you get a delayed reaction with that body shot.
Yep.
And it was kind of a delayed reaction. It hit him about 2 seconds later, and he went down and was unable to recover from the fight. It was officially stopped at the 19-second mark of the 4th round. Before that, he was dropped 2 more times in the 3rd round. But it was a good fight for Jose Martinez, and it was a good
test
initial. Yeah, but it was a good initial broadcast between Golden Boy and Cancun Boxing.
Right.
Cancun Boxing has a lot of fighters coming up. Marty Cornejo was actually signed by and co-promoted by Cancun Boxing, and on Wednesday afternoon she was signed to Golden Boy. So she's become the 2nd fighter now signed by Golden Boy.
Second female fighter.
Second female fighter.
Mhm.
Thank you. Second female fighter signed by Golden Boy. So it looks like Oscar De La Hoya and Eric Gomez and the team over at Golden Boy are really starting to keep their eye on these female fighters. And that's what we have. You know, we're waiting for Mighty to call in. We do have another female fighter here, the first champion from the Inland Empire sitting in with us. You know, Mighty was involved in that card. She fought a very tough fight against a girl named, I want to say Iris Hernandez.
Yeah. I'm looking at the same thing as saying that.
Yeah.
I think it's Iris.
Yeah, Hernandez from Tijuana, Mexico, and it was a tough fight.
It was definitely a
Yeah,
tough fight for her.
she only had 2 fights, Iris, but she came there not to lose.
Oh, she came in there throwing.
Yeah.
she was definitely putting some pressure on Mari for sure.
You know, I talked to Nancy Rodriguez, who's the manager of Mari Cornejo, and they had a choice of opponents. And the reason they went with this Hernandez girl is because of her amateur background. She's a tough fighter, and I think it's going to be a good learning experience for Mari, because if Mari takes that next step and fights somebody like Clarissa Shields, and there's been plenty of talk about that, she's going to have to box from the outside. She's going to have to use that counter punch and use her jab
And
stay
her height.
and her
Yeah,
height
definitely
to
her
stay
height.
away from somebody like Shields, because this girl Hernandez came in and she was throwing a lot of punches from the inside, but it seemed like a lot of them were like little pitter-patter punches.
Right.
But she was cutting off the ring. Mari did get a lot of clean, effective shots from the outside, and it was a split decision. You know, 2 of the judges had it 58-56 in favor of Cornejo, while one of the other judges had it 59-55 in favor of Hernandez, which I watched the fight. It was a 6-round fight. I didn't see Hernandez beating Cornejo 5 out of the 6 rounds, so, you know, it is what it is when you're in Mexico.
Right.
When you're fighting somebody from Mexico, you know, it's tough.
Well, we actually have Mari online, so let's bring her on and we'll ask her some questions and congratulate her.
Mari in the house.
Mari, you there with us?
Hey, Mari,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're good. Congratulations on your win and your signage with Golden Boy.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on today.
Thank you for calling in. So we were just talking about your fight with Hernandez, and you know, it seemed to be a very tough fight. You did come away with the victory, so congratulations on that. But tell us a little bit about what you knew about Hernandez coming into the fight.
I knew nothing. Like we found out about her. Well, at least I don't know what like my trainer and Nancy or any other the matchmaker who got it. I don't know what they knew, but I tried to look her up or anything like that, or try to see like her style, but I couldn't find anything. And then the day of my weigh-in, like maybe I think it was like a few minutes after I got off the scale, I find out her amateur experience, and I was like, okay, cool. You know, I had told the matchmaker, I was like, that's awesome to know, because I want it to be I want it to be a competitive fight. I want to be able to come out of this fight with the learning something, and I want someone to push me and to possibly expose some of the things that I need to continue to work on. And I loved everything about the fight, and I learned so much about it, and I learned also not to allow it to get that close. Just, you know, for my own, not my own safety, I guess, or my own sanity, or just to know,
Where you stand right now.
even for the fans also. Just, if you don't want to be disappointed, don't leave it up to the judges. So
Definitely.
it was a great learning experience for me.
Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Especially in another country, you got home judges, and sometimes those fighters get those hometown scores, and you know, it is a big learning experience, especially fighting somebody like Hernandez, because she may have the same style as Clarissa coming in, a possible matchup for you in 2018 with Clarissa Shields, and it's a good learning experience for you. You know, you have the height, you have the reach, and all you can do is just move forward from here. You know, and it was a good fight.
Mari, you're training now in India with Joel Diaz. What have you been learning from him that, you know, is helping your boxing career?
A lot of this sparring, the whole camp, the sparring everything was great. I know I had given so much more in the sparring, and I had given myself fully, and But truthfully, what I lack is that, all the other boxers out there, all the female boxers out there, and now the ones that I'm going to be facing, I lack the experience that they have. And that's all just going to come with time. I mean, everything is there. Everything is coming together great. And it's just the experience. And, I mean, that you can't hurry that up. You can't learn that any quicker than just getting in the ring every time and, coming out there and coming out with a learning experience. And but I think I've done pretty well so far, and I know I'll continue to improve. And with Joel in my corner and Tonio as well, and then with the experience, we're going to be just fine. And I'm very confident in my team and my ability as well.
And you officially signed with Golden Boy Promotions out in Cancun the day before your fight. So talk to us a little bit about that and what led to getting you signed with the Golden Boy.
Repeat that again. I can't hear you guys. I'm having a hard time for you guys. It's like far away.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Talk about Golden Boy Promotions and how it came about for you to be signed with them.
It was in the works for months, really. They were working at it. Okay. It was in the months for a very long time, and I found out. Nancy, the deal was done the night of Canelo, or the night, the night of Canelo Triple G fight, and we were very excited. And then we were just going back and forth with the contract, and it took that like a month or two to finalize everything, and then but it was all a process, and Nancy worked extremely hard with it with the Golden Boy team, Robert Diaz and Bernard Hopkins, truly, and it was done, and it was a dream come true, because that's exactly what I had envisioned when I first stepped into the gym 6 years ago at Wildcard Boxing, and I had met Oscar. So everything's just coming full circle, and the hard work just pays off. Anything is possible, and that's the beauty of my journey so far, is I'm going to be able to inspire so many other girls, or kids. Just work hard, stay in your lane, work hard, keep your head down, stay humble, be a good person, and your talent will be seen. And there's nothing like hard work.
Well, congratulations again, and you're going to have to come in and stop by the studio sometime with us, Mari, and we appreciate you calling in today.
I would love to, and thank you so much again. You guys have a good day, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy with your family. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Mari. Bye-bye.
Before we move on to Kalisha West and bring her and her father, Juan West, onto the show, I wanted to talk about a movie premiere that's the whole SoCal Boxing crew and our entourage that's here will be joining. We'll be there at today at 4 p.m. at the California Theater in San Bernardino. The movie is a screening for a movie called Court of Appeals, and it's about a wrongfully convicted police officer who went through the appeal process and won. And director Pete Bollinger is allowing donations to be collected for boxers attending Utah competition. The organization Project the Fighting Chance has 3 amateurs attending, which we did want the amateurs to come in today, but they had to hang out with their family. But we do have a special amateur fighter here today. He is one of our fighters from Against the Ropes Boxing Gym in Rialto, California. Robert Aguilar, 17-year-old from Fontana, California. So make sure his mic is on before we say hello. Hey Robert, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Just blessed, to be here.
Just make sure you come a little closer to the mic. But talk to us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been fighting amateurly?
I've been an amateur boxer since the age of, I want to say 12, 13. Been in competition. Just love what I do. I've won nationals 2 times, states twice, and it's just time to keep on going.
What's your amateur record?
I have 11 belts right now with 10 victories and just one loss.
Just one blemish, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
one blemish.
just
It's
one
okay, it's a
little-
learning lesson.
One little mistake, you know, but it's all good. It's a learning process.
What are the belts that you won?
I have won the national pals twice. I have the diamond belt, which is also known as the sapphire belt. Won that one twice, and now it's I'm gonna be competing in the Golden Gloves, March or April, one of those. Just trying to bring that belt home.
The ATR, huh?
Yeah.
So to segue into that,
uh,
how do you like training over there at Against the Ropes?
At Against the Ropes, it's actually a good environment right there. Many good coaches. We have Paul Banky there, which is a world champion, and yeah, I also have my coach Steve, and it's good, man. It's a learning process there. They just help with everything, man. It's a environment that
Family oriented.
you know, it's a family in there, man.
Definitely,
And they bring a lot of good work, you know, and they push you, man. There are no limits in this sport, man.
Shout out to JC for bringing all that good sparring.
2020
Yeah,
Olympic
definitely.
Games.
So-
Speaking about
man.
sparring, you were sparring with Manny Flores, and he's one of the fighters coming out of Coachella Valley. And he's a pro now. He's about 2-0.
2-0 with 2
knockouts.
knockouts.
And you guys used to go back. You guys knew each other from back in the day. So
Yeah,
what is
man.
that? I mean, he's really good. If anyone's not seen Manny Flores, you should actually take a look at him now. But he's really good, and
Yeah.
he's been putting some work on Robert,
Yeah.
learning something.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that.
Well, yeah, me and Manuel, we've been real good friends. He was actually one of my first sparring partners ever. I was also his, and we started over there at the Diaz training camp in Indio, and I mean, everything eventually turns into we go our different routes, but he's a real good boxer. He could brawl. He just has very good potential in the ring, man. He's a smart fighter.
All right. Well,
Got some good experience as well.
Yeah.
He won the gold medal at 2020 Olympic Games.
He's a lefty,
Yeah, so
you know, so he's tricky.
Mhm.
oh yeah. Got
He
it.
actually
That's
could
working
box a
with-
little bit.
Yeah.
Good.
For a lefty.
Yeah.
He doesn't just bang. I was with him his last fight over in San Felipe,
Uh-huh.
and I worked the corner for him, and yeah, he impressed me. He
Yeah,
impressed me.
he's training with Bobby Lee, who has Brandon Lee
Brandon
out
Lee.
there, father of
Shout
Brandon
out to
Lee.
Bobby and
And
Brandon.
yeah, and hey, they've been coming weekly to come and spar with our guys at ATR, so hopefully we keep that going.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a very impressive first round knockout over there in San Felipe, man. It was a good fight.
Yeah.
Or it could have been.
It was a quick fight.
Yeah, quick fight,
Olympic
man.
Games, hopefully.
I had my pro was on that card as well. So Israel Mercado was on that card with
Manuel.
Manuel, yes sir.
Thank you, Robert, for stopping by. We love to see your career fly. So, tell boxing fans where they can start watching you on your social media or something.
On my social media, my Instagram, it's at Fetty Boy, and I post a lot of stuff on there. It just, you know, it's a little thing just to put it out there. But my plan is, you know, to become a professional boxer and one day also become a world champion. And I just gotta stay with a solid mindset, and anything can happen, man.
Yep,
By
stay
the grace of
focused
God,
in the
man.
gym. As long as you stay focused in the gym, anything's possible.
Yes, sir.
While we switch places with you and Kalisha, you guys, if you guys are listening in, please stream onto Facebook, Supreme Boxing's Facebook. We're there live as well, and then you can stream on KCAA. And then also, if you guys want to call in and talk with Kalisha or any of us or Juan West, you can call in at 909-792-5222. Kalisha West is the first boxer, male or female, coming out of the Inland Empire to be a world champion. So,
Yeah, that's my
holla.
sister.
She has a record right now of 17, 2 losses, 3 draws, 4 knockouts, and 29-year-old bantamweight.
And this lady can box.
Oh yeah, former world champion.
It's really only one loss. There's only one
Yeah.
loss. And
All right, box
I
right
managed that one.
needs
They wrote it wrong on the piece of paper.
Oh, you gotta tell them something.
Whatever happened, so. We were in another country, that's what happened. We were in
Oh,
Canada.
so that's what
So
it
we're
is.
gonna blame Canada on that one.
Canada.
That's right. So
Canada.
You took that L in 2014, and then you took a layoff. Tell us a little bit about that layoff. You know about what happened there.
Well,
She looks at
You
her
gonna go?
dad.
You gonna go?
Oh, he has,
You ready to go?
he's gonna have an answer.
I can explain. You know,
See what happens.
it's
when-
discouraging to
Rated
take a
G
loss.
version.
You know, it's discouraging to take a loss like that. Okay, you know, behind the scenes, people don't know what happens or what goes on. We went over there to fight a girl from the Dominican Republic. The same day they switched
Change opponents, yep.
and they bring in their
That old chestnut.
their national, you know, star or who they want to try to build up over there. And we found out after we're there that we're not in the American side of Canada, we're in the French side of Canada, so there's no English speaking people there. So it was really a bad vibe, bad setup. And
No, what happened was is we were contacted before to fight about 7 months before the fight, and I told my dad, I was like, look, I'm not gonna go to Canada unless I fight someone else from another country. I'm not gonna fight a Canadian in Canada. That's exactly what I said. So he was like, oh no, don't worry about it. We've got someone from another country. Oh yeah, it's gonna be neutral grounds. And I was like, okay, cool. You're the main event. They just want to bring you out there. I was like, let's do it for the experience. And then right, what was it, like a week? Not the day before. It was like a week or two before they pull Olivia. And Olivia, by all means, she's fought everybody. Knocked out Mia St. John, beat world champions. And this girl's way bigger than me. I'm usually 118. She's beating girls 145. She's a battle axe. Her record's not one of the prettiest, but that's because she never turned down a fight.
Yeah.
She's usually that underdog
she's
that would end up winning.
three-time WBC light.
Yeah, 3-time
People
WBC
gotta
champion.
realize that.
And I was like, but you know, we don't back down. I don't want to pull out of a fight. We just don't say no to fights. So
Right.
even though she was from Canada, we were just like, let's just do it.
The oddest part about this fight, it was her easiest fight of her career.
Yeah, it was,
So,
but I was real sick.
explain
too.
the L.
I remember. So I don't like to make excuses, and I've never told anyone what happened during the fight.
Yeah.
You know, we lost a family member very close to us. My dad traveled for the funeral all the way to Michigan. There's a lot going on in the training camp. And 2 weeks prior, it was more so of like a mourning. Like we weren't really into it like we usually are. We're usually on the same page with the battle plan and everything else. I had personal health situation going on, having to take painkillers for that. So even though when I fought the fight, I knocked her down the first round, which they don't have that part on YouTube. I don't know what happened to that part of the
Yeah,
fight.
yeah.
Let's edit that one out and put it
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, can we Photoshop that part? Because they didn't put it in there. And then we went the distance. The commentators, people thought I won. They gave me, what was it? They gave me 4 out of, they gave her 3, or no, 2. They gave her 2 rounds. And, you know, a lot of people thought I won the fight. I felt like I could have did way better. And
But you had issues going on at the time.
I did, but
And the fact that
Yeah.
they switch everything.
they switched everything.
Yeah.
And what was the funniest thing to me, and this is so funny, when even when we were just coming out, they were like, the champ's gonna come out first, Kalisha Wild Wild West, yeah, bring her out first. And then all of a sudden, some commissioner runs up, no, she's not from Canada, she's gonna come out first. And I was like, calm down, it's just to come out. So then they had Olivia come over me. I mean, they had me come over Olivia as if I were the one,
You were
I was
the
the
opponent.
contender, I was the opponent. And then they brought her out like she was the champ. It was just weird.
Well, moving
Just
forward,
weird.
you just recently got one.
I
So,
did. It took a
hey.
long time for me to make that decision
Yeah,
to come
you
back.
know, she made up her mind that, you know, we're gonna try to, you know,
Go to the mic a little bit, sorry.
we're gonna try to, you know, finish up the career with a grand finale, you know, some wins. And, you know, working with promoters is very difficult, especially when you're not signed by a promoter, especially for a female.
Yeah.
Even when you're
So-
signed, it's difficult.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Not
it's-
boxing in general.
It's,
so
getting-
difficult.
it's improving, but you know, there's a small pool of females that are out there and that are willing to fight each other. So it's a task that's very difficult.
Everybody's afraid
Mhm.
to get that L,
Right.
right? So no one really wants to take the chances that they actually should.
Absolutely.
But you know, the chances, you know, for the men are
Yeah.
brought with money.
With money.
And girls,
Not for the women.
Yeah, for the women, you know, they want them to risk it all
Yeah.
for nothing. And then it's like, what do you get? You get nothing. Because you got girls that do have common sense. Okay.
You know, to let the fans know who Kalisha West is, she was a 2002 and a 2003 Junior Olympic champion. In 2003 and 2004, she also won the Silver Gloves, and in 2002, she was a National Golden Gloves champion. She's a very highly decorated amateur fighter. In 2010, she became the WBO bantamweight champion on the undercard of the Shane Mosley Mora Is that correct?
At
It was
the
Shane Mosley
Staples
Moore,
Center,
right? At
yeah.
the Staples Center. So you were actually one of the first females to be part of the Golden Boy, part of a Golden Boy card, and you came away with the championship, becoming the first champion, male or female, from the Inland Empire.
My sister.
Wow, that's pretty awesome there. I know the Inland Empire has produced a couple of champions. I know you and Cindy Amador as far as female champions go,
Right,
but
right.
do you think you're gonna take that next step and try to go for another championship belt, another championship run?
He knows I want the WBC belt. However,
Everybody wants
I want the green belt. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
That was why I decided, hey, let's do this again because I want to win the green belt.
Yeah, that was the goal.
Yeah, that was the goal. And then me winning my last fight against a girl who, she was tough. She was a lefty. We didn't think we were gonna take that tough of a fight. My first fight back, but that put me back in the opportunity to fight for the green belt. So to be perfectly honest with you, another knock off the rust fight, another tune-up. That's out of the question. Show me a big money fight. Show me a big opponent. Show me somebody in the spotlight, because I'm not exactly in the spotlight where I used to be right now.
Yeah.
I'm coming back. So there's a lot of other girls who are, show me the green belt, and then let's talk business. It's that simple. That's all I really want to see next. Yeah.
Well, who was your toughest opponent in your whole career that you can say you had to dig deep for?
I fought a lot of tough girls. I did. I fought a lot of
Anyone in
girls.
particular that stands out?
Yeah.
Just like your dad's hat says, your battle
Believe
tested.
believe
I
it
like
or
that
not,
hat. Give me one.
believe it or not, there's a lot of tough people that I fought that gave me a hard time. But one of the toughest girls that I fought, and this surprises everyone, is because she hits like a brick. Oh my goodness, she had like Mike Tyson power. That's Jessica Villafranca. They end up calling her Killer Doll in Mexico. And I'll tell you what was so great about this fight is in the first couple rounds, she was bringing me hell, and did not expect this type of a fight. She was younger than me. She was hungry to take my title. It was in Mexico. She was Mexican. So she had her Mexican flag, getting the crowd going. And when I went in there, they all say when you get hit, everything changes, right?
Yep.
How does that saying go?
Everybody has a plan
Until they get hit,
hit.
right? I had a plan. I got hit. And then I went back to...
She's heavy-handed.
She was heavy-handed. And I went back to my corner, and I was just like, I saw a ghost. And then I'll never forget what happened. My dad told me it was like the 4th round. He goes, Kalisha, I think you even slapped me. He goes, Kalisha, what the hell are you doing? She is a C+, and you're an A+ fighter, and you brought yourself down to a C+ fighter, and you need to get back to being an A+ fighter. You got this fight. And he just pumped me up, and I remember just, I got this. And I went down there and went in the next round, and I went to the body and then to the head. So I started to the body, then to the head, and I remember I busted her nose.
Yeah, broken.
Wow.
And her nose is blood everywhere. And then, because I look at my opponents, it's all mental. I looked at her in the corner, and she was going,
It turned the
And she
whole
was-
fight around.
and it
Wow.
turned the
Just scraping
whole
at the
fight.
nose, yeah.
It got to her head. Her
Yep.
nose got to her head. She kept going,
Kept touching him.
touching her
Yep.
nose. Even during the fight, she was touching her nose, and I was just, my turn.
Yeah, yeah.
And I won
This is what
the
the West
I won
is
the
about.
fight. I won the fight, yeah.
Yeah,
It was-
dominated.
it was a real good fight,
She
though.
dominated the wrestling fight.
Yeah, I did, yeah. So that was one of my toughest fights.
Juan, I know in the beginning when Kalisha wanted to start fighting, you didn't want her to fight at all. What made you change your mind to be like, all right, let's do it. I'm gonna train you, and let's go pro.
Kalisha, we're like twins. She was a daddy's girl, and the thing about me picturing her box, I just couldn't picture her getting in the ring fighting. Although, she after my fights, she'd be in the background.
Yeah.
Of every fight, and then
The boxing
in the
pose.
crowd, the loudest voice I could hear in the crowd was Kalisha. She was my biggest fan. She was rooting me on, and when she first started boxing or wanted to box, I said no, Kalisha, because I was old school. I had that mentality. Women don't box.
Right.
This is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So-
I said,
Hey,
there's
that's
no
20 years
opportunity
ago.
for us.
Well, no, Christy Morin was. Yeah, Christy
They
Morin.
were-
They were.
She was-
Girls were boxing.
Yeah, in the pros. I didn't see
in
any
amateurs.
in the amateurs.
No.
Hey.
They were
No,
not in
not like
in
that. Not like
1998,
now, definitely.
1998, they finally opened the doors for the women in the amateurs and was allowing them to box. So
Yeah.
I was explaining to her, you go to these shows as a male, as an amateur male, you never saw women
No.
out there, gloving up, getting ready. It's a totally different scene now.
As a matter of fact, I remember always winning state, and then when it was time for nationals, it's like, oh no, she can't go. And I would say, why? And they're like, she's a girl. They didn't even let us go to
She's got
nationals
boobs.
half the time.
Yeah.
It was just so new.
She couldn't
Yeah.
advance,
So
you know, so it wasn't there for USA Boxing, but finally, you know, the doors opened
Took
up
off,
for her.
yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
now it is.
I didn't, you know, I couldn't picture her boxing. And so when she did, when I did finally decide to give in to her, you know.
She was relentless, I guess, I
Yeah, I
bet.
treated
Daddy,
it like
please
it
just
was
have to
just
stop.
a joke, or I treated it like it was just gonna be a phase.
She about to get beat up.
She gonna get hit, and when she get hit,
She'll quit.
she's gonna realize that she don't wanna do boxing. So,
But that didn't
yeah,
go to plan.
I even kind of mismatched her for her first fight, you know. I just went in there and said, let this girl give her a spanking.
Tell them the weight difference. I was
Yeah.
92 pounds, she was 106.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
That's like a
savage.
little
Yeah,
tiny girl.
you know, and
I felt
I'm
bad for
chuckling
me.
in the background, but she's bouncing off the ropes. So I know she can't handle it, you know.
I got 2 8 counts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those are the
It
only
was-
8 counts I've ever gotten. in my
Ever in
life.
her life, those are the only 8 counts she
Yeah,
ever
I've never
received.
got one ever after
But
that.
she's stubborn. She's championship stubborn, because to be a champion, you have to be stubborn.
That's right.
You know, and she's championship stubborn. And after the fight, I asked her, I said, Kalisha, what was you saying to that girl?
I was young.
And she's, because she's over there, you know, over there.
I was only 11 years old.
You know, and, yeah, and she said, I'll tell her I want a rematch. I said, what? After that butt whooping, you want a rematch? And so,
So she was a chip off the old block like
yeah,
your dad.
Those
so
weren't real 8 counts. She pushed me.
yeah, but you know, in the fight game, when you lose, or when a fighter lose, that's the first thing running through his mind. I want a rematch, man. I didn't lose. I can't lose. And once
Right.
I saw that attitude,
That determination.
yeah, that determination was in her blood. I knew I had the champion. Future champion.
Okay, so what's next for you guys? What's next for everyone? And
Well,
for Kalisha?
Kalisha's okay. Unfortunately for the females and the women, life is what's next. Okay? So she, you know,
No.
Kalisha's, you know, as far as boxing,
As far as boxing.
the game plan is in the next 6 to 7 months
Yes.
to get back in the ring. That's the game plan, because, you know, she's living life and she has another opportunity to become a police officer, and that opportunity is life changing for her, because and for me, because I do want security for my daughter. Financial security for my daughter. You know, and then she can enjoy her passion, you know, her boxing, you know, and I know the pot of female boxing is stirring. The names are coming to the top. They're being televised. I know this. I see this every day. So we're just waiting for an opportunity to hear a phone call that says, "Hey, you want to fight so-and-so Olympic champion so-and-so? You want to fight so-and-so killer so-and-so?" You know, and Kalisha is, you know,
Killer dog.
well, yeah, we'll get in that gym when the money's right and do the fight, you know.
Even American television, though.
Yeah.
I've never had an opportunity to fight on American television ever. I've always
Yeah.
fought on Fox Deportes.
She's fought abroad in Europe on
Yeah.
television, national television. She's fought in Mexico on national
Fought
television.
abroad.
Well,
Abroad.
now,
It's like you
now
said,
we're
I
seeing
fought
the female
abroad.
fighters, you know, BBC and ESPN.
Sounded
The
bad.
female fighters are definitely coming to American TV. So
Over
you'll
there.
get your chance. Kalisha.
I just want to correct that.
Yeah.
I just want to make that
Over there.
clear. I just want to make that clear.
Over there.
Gotta fix
Is
that.
better?
Yeah.
And there's actually one amateur girl. Her name is Heaven Garcia. She's from El Monte, California. I think she fights out of the Teamsters. I want to give her a shout out because she's actually in India right now, and she's competing for the USA boxing team. So
Awesome.
congratulations, Heaven, and we hope to see you more and more, and hopefully in the Olympics for the girls next time.
Nice.
Is there any fighters right now that you're looking forward to fighting, or anybody that you want to call out, or anybody
Yeah.
that you want to step in the ring with right now?
Make the list. Make
Oh
the
my
list right now.
I'm gonna
Also,
let
I
her do
wanna
that
see
because
that.
Daddy wanted to fight everybody.
I know, he really
I'm gonna let her
does.
do that. So.
You know, I feel, goodness, I don't even know how to say this, because I feel bad. There's some names that are out there that are my weight, 122, and they're not, like, I would
Just
like
tell
them to
them.
fight
Tell
a
us,
real
speak
fight.
up.
Just
Let's
figure it
go.
out. Come on.
I think I'd
Make
be a
your
great
Christmas
tense
list.
fight, but at the same time, it's like,
Look at the top 7 in the 122-pound ranking, and we don't have to say no names.
who's the top 7?
Any of them.
I really don't know
I don't
who the
even
top
know.
seven
I don't even know the names, but you know.
I really
the
don't.
rankings are incorrect. The stars are incorrect. Okay? It's all
Because
wrong.
if it's not
bro.
Kalisha West,
Yeah,
it's wrong.
you know, it's all wrong. So those I don't like to call out girls, but you girls know who you are. You know who you are.
Well,
It's in black and white in
It's
the
the
rankings.
same ones that say no every time we call.
Yeah. Like they know Daddy's gonna make a phone call.
Who, Alicia West? No, not yet. No,
When
no.
Daddy make that phone call, it's like the red bat phone. It's like a bat call, you know.
There you go.
Bat signals.
The
up.
same
Oh.
ones I slid in your promoter's DM on Twitter and he didn't reply.
Yeah.
pretending like he didn't see
Yeah.
So there's no need to say no names. They know what they know who they are.
Yeah, yeah. They have to know.
His name calling is kind
It is.
of low and cheesy, you know.
Yeah.
We like to try to stay classy, but if
Stay
you look in the
classy.
rankings, okay, the rankings, BoxRec or womensbox.com, look at those top 7. They don't belong there. Okay.
I think he's on there now.
I was looking.
Yeah,
That's how much the
in
female
the
boxing needs to have
126
some
or the
popularity.
122.
What was that
All right.
website again?
126.
Kalisha Juan,
She can fight
thank
either
you
way,
so
guys.
much for joining us.
Thanks so
We
much.
are closing our show now,
All
so
right.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
guys for
Thanks for
coming
having
in.
us
Yeah,
and
thank you,
supporting
studio
women's
today.
boxing.
All right.
Make sure you guys do come to this premiere. Definitely support amateur boxing and this movie screening as well. Stay tuned for the rest of the Sunday Squad with Boogie.
Sunday Squad?
Sunday Squad?
Sunday
Yes,
Squad.
he'll be coming up right now from 2 to 3. And,
Thank you, JC.
make sure you stop by Quick Stop Tires. Please do so for us. I want to thank everyone that came onto the show today and my co-hosts Anthony and Chris. So we will be back next week. We'll have Julius Jackson calling in next weekend, and then also local Joseph Landeros is going to be in studio. So be sure to stay tuned next Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. Thank you guys.
Bye bye.